Alright, now it is time to get to moving all of our parts of the Hellbringer up into the mesh section. This is actually important. I've tried this a couple of different ways. I've tried just skinning the Hellbringer parts as they are, but I believe, I cannot prove, but I believe that by moving them into the mesh section, when you export, the meshes get all the relationship data from the helpers up here in the mesh section. These are all of our different helpers. They're all transforms, and it kind of tells the armature where it needs to be, and these get the relationships to it. So we'll take those and just drag and drop them underneath their appropriate helper. There's the rear and the twist. Now that that's done, I can close it. Let's see, where's our right torso? Nope, that's left. Of course, right's at the bottom. Take and pull in the right torso rear. And I'm going to continue to go through and just do that for all the parts. And once each of those parts is put in, I will collapse what it's under. It just pulls everything up. This is great. We don't have to mess with the talon or the toe. Now you'll notice that there is an extra part here, which is a knee. You will also see that on the other way around, particularly in the arms. A lot of the mechs will have an elbow, as well as clavicle, forearm, and upper arm. So just leave it there. It is important for the structure. Don't delete it, but you don't have to drop anything over it. Once we get to overwriting the meshes in the asset bundle, we'll have to take a blank mesh or a very, very, very small mesh, and I'll show you how to do that and overwrite it with that. I have one that I made when I was doing the Hellbringer originally that I use for all the mechs. So, alright, let's get this finished. We are on the right leg. So, right leg, calf, foot, hip, and thigh. We can close that. Go to the right arm, clavicle, forearm and upper arm. Close that. Into the leg. Foot, hip, thigh. Close left leg whole. That leaves us with the left arm and the head. Okay, now that those are all where they need to be, you can take and expand. Gotta select children first. There we go. Expand selected again. That opens everything up. Now we're to the important part. We're to the part where we're skinning. And this is where making our torso helps out. So right now you can see center torso. Where is their center torso? There we go. Center torso, rear, center torso, left and right, front and rear torsos, and our head cockpit. So those are all going to skin to the same bone. And how we skin, when I had done this previously, I showed you the long way to do it. I figured out a little bit shorter way to do it. So you click up here on modifier list. Make sure you're in the modifier tab again. Click on modifier list. Type in skin, S-K-I-N, and hit enter. That automatically applies the skinning modifier. Now, You'll notice that this is in italics. The reason that skin is in italics here is because it is telling you that it is skinning this entire group as one skin. I have found that this works very well, group skinning. I also do group skinning for the weapons. Instead of skinning each individual part. If you decide that you want each individual part skinned, you can take this group while it's selected and select Make Unique right here. It will ask you, are you sure you want to do this? You click yes. Now you see the skin modifier goes away because you still have the whole group. But if you select an individual part, your skin modifier is now there and it is no longer in italic. So I am going to Control Z back because I want the whole group skinned. Now you add the bone you want to skin to. If you don't know what bones each part needs to skin to, before you delete the Orion meshes, take a look, because they will all have the skinning modifier on them, and they will tell you what bone that particular part needs to skin to. All of these torso parts are going to skin to J-Spine 2. You can double click, it will automatically select it, J-Spine 2. Now all that is skinned. The other two pieces that skin together to the same part are the pelvis and the pelvis rear. So again, type in skin, hit enter, our skin modifier is automatically applied, go to add, and those are going to skin to the pelvis. So now our torsos are done. So left torso, right torso, center torso, pelvis. The other piece that we need is the twist. The twist, let's go to skin, and the twist goes to J spine. Now I can close out the torso because that part's done. I can close out the head, that part's done. All that's left are the arms and the legs. Now each one of these needs to be skinned individually because they all skin to different bones. So clavicle, basically the last name in the mesh is going to be the bone that it skins to. So this particular one is the left arm clavicle, so we are going to skin to J left clavicle. Just like that. So I'm going to go through and skin the rest of these. Much faster than it was previously. And we are doing left forearm. Oops. Make sure you type that in right. There we go. Left forearm. When you do this, let me go through and do this one here and show you what I'm talking about. When you do this, you have to actually click, or either double click or hit select below. So we're going J underscore left upper arm. So what I generally do is I just double click on the bone that I want. If you put in left upper and then hit enter, oh, I hate you. So I just hit enter and it gave me the single bone. When I've done this in the past, it gives me the entire armature up to that bone. Let's see if I can get it to do that again. So now we're doing the calf. That might be why, is because the upper arm. Could be because I had it selected. Who knows? But let's try it with the calf. So J need to add bone. J left calf. So if I type that in and just hit enter, this is what I'm talking about. So I get everything that was in that list. I don't want everything that was in that list, I just want the calf. If that happens, you can just remove all the others and leave the calf, and it will work just fine. So again, skin, add bone, J left foot, double click, and your J left foot shows up right here. Had to stop and look for a second to see what I was skinning to. Because this covers, you can either pull it over and look to see what's highlighted. I generally just look down here and see which item is highlighted. So here, if I click that, I can see the blue outline around the thigh. That's just a quick reference. Hey, that's what I'm skinning. I'm skinning the thigh. Left thigh. Double click. And the left leg is done. So all that's left, right arm, right leg. I tell myself that all the time. All that's left. That's all I have to do. This is the tedious part. Right. No, we're not. J underscore focus. There we go. Right clavicle. And onto the upper arm. And the arm is done. Now for the right leg. See me pause there for a second. It's because I'm looking down to see which one's highlighted. As I'm doing this, I'm planning into my brain what I need to cover next, and it's distracting. Right. Add foot. Ah, shit. Left on that one too. No, I didn't. That's the other thing I have a habit of doing. So get rid of that. We're now set to the right foot. Alright, now onto the hip. Nope, don't need talon. Last piece. Alright, we are skinned. So now that everything is where it needs to be, we are all under the proper helpers. Everything is skinned. And I will usually go back through and double check just to make sure. Look at my skin, make sure that it's skinned with the proper one. So left, 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 because I have a bad habit of swapping the left and right. left, 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 left. Make sure that our right, right, right. Alright, those are all good. Then we should be spine 2 for the torsos. Haha! There's one that I missed. So take and remove, remove, and that should have done it for both of them because they're skinned as a group. That's the other good thing. If you do screw something up, you only need to select one piece of a group to make a change, and it makes a change for all of the pieces. And that is why I go back through and look. So now at this point we are ready to export. So we're going to export. We are going to pick a name. I use the same naming format for all of them that I do. So this one is going to be Hullbringer reference. I select save. Now, this is where the export comes up. There are a couple of things that you have to do when you do this. First, again, for your units, make sure it is selected to meters. For the axis conversion, make sure that it is selected to Z up. That is important. This is also important. You can choose to have animation on or off, but what you must have, you have to turn on animation and make sure that deformations, skins, and morphs are all checked. At that point, you can turn animation back off. You will still get these things. These will still apply when you export. These are very important, otherwise your meshes will not import in the proper position. So now I click OK. And this is what I was talking about. On the export, you're going to get gimbal lock warnings. It doesn't matter. Gimbal lock is in relation to the armature and not the meshes. So I click OK. And for the time being, I'm done with 3D Studio Max. So the next thing that I want to open up is Unity. This is where Salama Joe's Unity project is. I imported it just as Joe's project. I have two screens, and it showed up on the other one. There we are. There's my last piece of work. Okay, so I want to go under Assets, and I do not have an existing Hullbringer scene. So I'm going to go to the default build scene, and I'm immediately going to save scene as Hullbringer. This essentially makes a copy. Oh no. There's a Hullbringer folder, so I'm not going to be able to name it Hullbringer. So we'll name it Hullbringer scene. That's one of the oddities I've found with this. When naming a scene, if there's a folder with the same name in there, it will not let you save that scene as that name. So now we have Hullbringer scene. It's there. So what we want to do is we want to pull the meshes in and overlay them, but first we need the correct skeleton. I need to make sure that I have the correct skeleton in here, which is the Orion, and I do not. So there's a piece of my prep work that I missed. So we will get to see how to import a skeleton, the proper skeleton, into Unity so that we can do it. Right now, I'll tell you right here that the skeleton we have loaded is the cataphract. One of the things you'll see is the meshes don't change, but the skeleton will. So let's see, what do I have? Stalker, Atlas. Atlas works. So if I click Atlas and click load skeleton, you see the meshes change, but now it is the Atlas skeleton underneath, and everything has moved to adjust. But like I said, I don't have an Orion in here right now, so there's a way to do that. And for that, we need Unity Asset Bundle Extractor. I want to go to Open, and I want to open the Orion. Where do I have? I have the Orion skeleton. I have the Orion asset bundle already saved outside of the Battletech, folder. So what I am looking for here is I'm looking for game objects. So if you can scroll down, you can look. It'll show you animation clips, meshes, blah 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 blah. I'm going to keep going until I get the game objects, and I am going to start looking for our skeleton pieces, which, if you remember from 3D Studio Max, all start in J. So I'm going to continue scrolling down. There we go. So we start seeing all of the J. So I'm going to go all the way down until I find J cockpit. Now, because the Orion actually has multiple prefabs in here. You have the Vala. Yep. So so we have the Vala. We have the Vala sim game. A couple of Vala sim games. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the base. So Orion base 001.prefab. Now I'm going to take and I am going to sort by container. And if I hit the up arrow and then the down arrow again, it will bring me exactly where I need to go. So I am at the cockpit, and these are all my J pieces that are in the Orion base prefab. I'm going to scroll up until I start seeing the cameras. We don't care about the cameras. I'll hold Shift and select everything from the one below camera all the way down to cockpit. Going to select Export Dump. Just leave UAB text dump. Click OK. Now I want to go to mine is under Mech Research, Joe's product. So you're going to go into the Unity projects folders, and you're going to go to Resources. You're going to create a new folder and call it Orion, all lowercase. And you're going to select that folder. You dump everything into that folder. You're going to dump everything into that folder. There we go. Alright, now that that's done, you're going to select Type again. You're going to start scrolling up until you start getting to Transform. Should be getting there soon. Alright, Transforms. And again, we want the transforms from the same prefab. So Orion base 001. I'm going to scroll all the way up until I see Orion base 001 go away. I'm going to select that top one. Again, export dump. into the same folder. So we're going to select the Orion folder, and we're going to dump. So we're done with the asset bundle extractor for this point in time. So I will go ahead and minimize it. Back into Unity, which you noticed Unity did a quick load there. It was just taking inventory of everything that I put in. Now at this point, now that our Orion folder is there, we can go back up and select the cataphract base, and under UAV parser we type in Orion and click load skeleton. Now our Orion skeleton is loaded. Because we don't have a pre-existing file for it, we can go ahead and click write skeleton. Clicking write skeleton and refreshing, we now have the Orion, and we can delete the folder. Now one of the things that I learned the hard way is at this point you need to go back in, type in Orion, and click load skeleton. If you do not do this, at some point it will revert to whatever skeleton is up here. So if you have the cataphract skeleton in there initially, at some point in the middle of your work, I still have not figured out exactly what it was that I did to cause it, but it will revert back to the skeleton that is loaded up here in the mech base. All my parts moved. I had no idea why, and it took me a little while to figure out what was going on. So hopefully that is helpful for you. So now that we have the Orion skeleton loaded, we can start moving the Hellbringer parts in and see if we need to make any adjustments. So I already have a Hellbringer folder in here, and at this point I am going to import the asset. I'm going to go to my documents, I'm going to go to 3ds Max, I'm going to go to the export folder and find the Hellbringer reference file that I saved earlier. So that is going to bring the Hellbringer in, that is going to bring in materials for the Hellbringer as well. If you click the little arrow here, this actually has all of your meshes. So because we're just doing the base, this list of meshes is very small, and it actually makes things a little easier. So we are going to go up here. So there's the cataphract base. You notice the hierarchy here looks just like it did in 3D Studio Max. So you have the J root, you have the mesh. So you can take and open the mesh. Now one of the things that you will notice is this is the mesh layout for the cataphract. So it will have some things that the Orion didn't. And it will have, like, for example, right arm shoulder. That is something that you are going to end up having to hide as we go through. To hide, you just click on the little box, the little checkbox up here at the top, just to the left of the name. But in the meantime, we're going to open up all of our torso parts. So, want to know how we get the cataphract skins off and get the Hellbringer skins on. Well, we start here. So select the skin that you want to replace. You take, don't click on, drag and drop the skin you wanted to replace into the mesh entry here. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that quick. Torso rear and head cockpit. Now one of the things that you'll see is that the cataphract, which is the base here, doesn't have a twist. This presents us a little bit of a problem, but not much. Once you actually import this into the asset bundle, it's going to go where it's supposed to go, but you're not going to be able to see it or port it over into the Unity editor here, because there is not a twist to port to. If there is an extra part that skins, say, the shoulder, skins to spine 2, so if there's an extra part that also skins to spine 2, you can drag and drop that here. It will show up where it's supposed to. I have found that changing the root bone makes absolutely no difference. I've tried pulling the twist in and changing the root bone here, and it does not care. Unless I skin the root bone to spine 2. So let's say instead of skinning it to pelvis, I skin it to spine 2. But that will cause issues when you get it into the mission because it's not skinned to the proper bone. And again, you can find out the proper bone by looking at its corresponding part on the parent mech. So you would look at the Orion twist. You would look at the Orion twist to see what the Hellbringer twist needs to be skinned to. So we've done that. Let's go to right torso. Right torso rear. Left torso. There's the first right. There we go. And the reason I said where's the first right is because the left torso, front and rear, are the last 2 parts prior to the rights starting. So pelvis is done, pelvis rear is done. Alright, so our torso meshes are done. Our cockpit is done. So we can start with the left arm. Left arm clavicle. Left arm forearm. I just noticed something. The left arm shoulder we're going to go ahead and hide. And the left upper arm. Now, the great thing about this is this scene that you see here is pretty much going to directly reflect what you will see in the mech lab in game. And if everything ports over in the proper position when you pull it in, then your mech lab mech is going to be perfect, and the only thing that you're going to need to adjust is going to be when you get into mission. And again, we'll get to that point. We may need to make adjustments. The mission and the mech lab do not always look the same, though they're going to be very close using this method. So let's get back into left calf, left foot, left hip, right arm, clavicle. Hey, get in there. Yeah, we missed one. Nope, nope, nope. That's the one I'm looking for. Left thigh. Yeah, it looks better. Alright. So we got the clavicle, we need the forearm. Nope, we are on... Let me see here. We are on the right arm forearm. Why is the left arm forearm on here? Huh. Okay. Anyway, I just noticed that. I've been working with this for a little while now. Pull up the right upper arm. And then the right leg. The calf. The foot. Hip. And the thigh. You'll notice that they're in the same order down here, going from left to right as they are here top to bottom. So calf, foot, hip, thigh. It's going to be calf, foot, hip, and thigh. That kind of makes things a little bit easier going through. So our Hellbringer is put together, but it looks like a bag of ass because it still has the cataphract skins on it. So to get rid of that, we're going to go into the materials. We're just going to simply drag and drop this material across all of our different parts, and that will make it nice and pretty white. So that we can get a better idea of how well our parts ported in. It's hard to see where things line up when you have the improper textures on the mech. And spin around the back. Okay, so there is a definitive gap here. Now, yes, our twist is going to fill in this gap. I can try to put it in there by overriding the shoulder, but I don't believe that it is going to go into the right place. What the hell is the twist? I think that's it. Yes, that is the center torso twist. So let's try putting it on the shoulder. I don't believe it's going to work. But I could be wrong. So it appears that our twist, by going to the shoulder, did go about where it needed to. Looks like it's a little bit forward, and I believe that is because it is here set to spine 2, and this is actually mapped to the pelvis, which is further down and back a little bit. So for the most part, our Hellbringer appears to be about where it needs to be. I think that the upper body and the twist actually need to come down a little bit. Looks like because I did it to the spine, the twist is where it's supposed to be, height-wise. But the upper body needs to come down just a touch. So in order to do that, after I do this, because it makes me a little crazy, there are a couple of things that you can do to deal with the twist. If you want to see exactly where the twist is going to be, you can do the same thing we did with the feet, and you can merge the twist with the pelvis. That'll make it all one piece. It'll definitely be where it's supposed to be, and then all you have to do is move the upper body. This is one of the few things that is a little bit of a pain in the butt. So in moving the upper body, why did I open that again? So to move the upper body, we're going to have to remove the skin off the torso and the arms, and make our adjustment, and then reskin. That is the best way to get this to move. There are other ways to get it to move, but I have found this works the best for me. What I want it to do is I want it to move in the mech lab, but not on the field, in the battlefield once we launch. and then I can make adjustments later to where I can get it to move in the battlefield and not in the mech lab. And I will show you how to do that as well. By removing the skin, moving it, and then reskinning it, it will move in the mech lab, but it will not move on the battlefield. So let us go ahead and do that. It's really easy, just delete. 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 Where is my left arm? Delete the skin. All three of my arm pieces. And then I would go up here, select my torso, delete that skin as well. Go back, select the entire upper body. Go to move. And bring it wide. Not select the entire upper body like I told you to. Select the entire upper body. And come down a bit. So we've brought our upper body down. Now we want to go back to just the torso. And again, skin. This means it's going to go to J-spine 2. And then our two arms need to be reskinned. Do have the left arm selected? Yes, yes. Right, onto the right arm. And the last part, which is to be our J right upper arm. Alright. So, now that that is done, we go ahead and export once more to our Hellbringer reference. Once you have set all of your different things in here, you won't have to do it again. So unless you go in here and change something, it will export the same way every time, so you don't necessarily have to go through and double check those settings every time to make sure they are set correctly the first time. There you go. Now that we're down a little more, go back to Unity. And this is something some of you may be familiar with. You delete what is already there, you import the new asset, and you re-import it. Alright. That's interesting. I must have screwed up the skinning on the left forearm. Let's see. Where's the right forearm skin to? It's skin to the left forearm. That would be why. So add J right forearm. Export again. Your reference is the one I want. Click OK. And OK. Now, minimize. Now again, delete. Import new asset. Back to Hellbringer reference, and it's where it's supposed to be. Now you notice that our torso is down. I mean, there's still a gap there, but I believe that is because of the twist, where the twist is. Because of the way that this particular twist works, it's not round. A lot of them are just like a round dome that the torso sits down on top of and will rotate around. This one's actually square. And for that reason, I don't want to join it to the pelvis. We will take a look at it and see how it looks once we actually get it in-game and into the mech lab. But at this point, I am ready to see what it looks like in the game. So to do that, we actually have to assign it to an asset bundle. I'm going to create a new one and call it Hellbringer Parts. Then I'm going to right click just in the empty space down here, and under the Asset Bundles submenu, click Build Asset Bundles. You'll see a loading bar pop up here. Once that loading bar is done, it's done. At this point, we're going to go back to Unity Asset Bundle Extractor. We'll close the old one, and we'll pull up the other two. One of the other things that I like to have up when I do this are my two asset bundle windows as well. So this is the group of asset bundles I'm going to be working with. This one I'm fairly sure has nothing in it right now, which is exactly what I want. So that's essentially starting off from scratch. How do I want to... This is how I want to do this. So I'm going to show you. I'll go ahead and delete that. I'm saving this because this is important, but this has all my hard points mapped already. That's something I'm not going to get into today, is remapping the hard points. It is a long process. Alright, where was I? So how do we get... excuse me, how do we get the asset bundle that we want to work with? So the quickest way to do that, let's go into Game Object, Create Empty. Now down here it says Game Object. You can go up here and name it CHR-PRF mech underscore, whatever mech name it is. In this case it's going to be Hellbringer base 001, and save it. Pull it down here, and now you are going to create a new asset bundle of the same name, CHR-PRF mech underscore Hellbringer base 001. And again, build asset bundles. So I want to open the asset bundle that I just created. I created a shortcut here to the asset bundle, where all the asset bundles are stored under Joe's Unity product. So this flipped. Here we go, CHRPRF mech, Hellbringer base 001. So when you open this, it's going to ask you if you want to unpack it. I click yes, and then I move it from here to essentially what is going to be this folder. So go back to E, Depot, Battletech, Hellbringer 2.0, and damn it. So before I do that, I actually want to click on the name so the name populates down here under file name. And then we'll go back to where I was. And I save. You'll see it pop in here. So we can now open that and we can see that basically all it has in it is it has an asset bundle manifest and it has that empty game object. At this particular point, you will open whatever your parent asset bundle is. In my case, it's the Orion. And you will click export. And you want to click export the cab file. I have already done this, so I am going to leave it just as it is. So you export that cab file. Once that cab file is exported, you will turn around and import the same cab file into your brandy new Hellbringer. So click on the Orion cab, and I open that. You want to save. Now, my naming convention for this is pretty simple. So I just imported the cab file, so this is going to be Orion Base 001 imported. I'm going to save. One thing you will notice is you will not see a change until you close it and open the one you just saved. Where did you go? Should be here. Let's try that again. Save. It is there. That's just odd. Let's try refresh. Ah, I see what I did. Derp. So we'll get rid of that. Put it in the wrong folder. So let's try this again. Save. Go to the proper folder. Go to the Hellbringer base, not the Orion base. Here we go. And again, you don't see any of the things that you just imported. So you actually have to close that. And then open the one that just got done. Now, everything is there. But it all says Orion. Orion, Orion, Orion. So, how do we get this? And this is the important part, the prefabs. How do we get all the prefabs to say Hellbringer? That is not hard. Click on container until it's blank at the top. Select this file. This file is the asset bundle manifest. And I'll show you that here in just a moment. So you take and export dump. You put it wherever you want it. I'm going to leave this one Hellbringer or Orion base because I already have a Hellbringer base. So I'm going to save this one. Click OK. At this point, you right-click, open it with your favorite text editing software. I like Visual Studio, and I will show you why here in a moment. So we need to get all these lines of code to change from Orion to Hellbringer. The quickest way I know how to do that is to go to Edit, find and replace, quick replace. The shortcut is Control H. That will pop up a little box up here. In that box, top in Orion, and below Hellbringer. Click Replace All. Now it tells me there are 206 occurrences where Orion has been changed to Hellbringer. At this point, this file is usable to be able to launch in-game. It may not be correct as far as your prefabs, which are all down at the very bottom of the file. But notice now, everything, character, mechs, prefabs, Hellbringer. We'll see the same when we start getting into weapons prefabs, which are a little further down. So again, SX, characters, mechs, prefabs, weapons, Hellbringer. This is also where you can remap your hardpoints. So MH1, that is missile hardpoint number 1. The way the prefabs work is each one of these is a weapon or a model that can go onto that associated hardpoint. So for the center torso missile hardpoint number 1, you have an LRM-5, a NARC, an SRM-6. Those are the things that can mount to that particular hardpoint for the Orion. The more of these you have, the more weapons models you can actually put on your new mech. I have a tendency when I remap for each hardpoint. So for MH1, let's go down here to the left arm, MH1. You notice you have 5, 10, 15, and in the SRMs, 4, 6. You have multiple per. And what that does is that actually gives you several that you can use. It's interesting that we only have a 5, a 10, a 15. Usually there's a 20 in there as well. And then only a 4 and a 6. The LRMs. There's an LRM-20. So in our left torso. If there's not one in there, that means there's not a model for it. So if there's not an LRM-20 in the left torso, there won't be a model for it. What you'll get is the next lowest one down. So even if you load an LRM-20 in the right arm of your, into the left arm, you're still going to get an LRM-10 or an LRM-15 model depending on what is available. Anywho, I picked 3 for each one. So I would do SRM-6, LRM-10, LRM-20 for a torso missile hardpoint. That frees up anything else that is in there for other hardpoints. So if I'm writing, let's see. If I'm writing something that has 2 energy hardpoints onto something that has 2 missile hardpoints, or even 1 missile hardpoint. Energy hardpoints are pretty easy. That's the EH1. It's a laser, a flamer, and a PPC. That's it. There's always only 3. So I can actually fit 2 energy hardpoints onto 1 missile hardpoint, because our missile hardpoint usually has SRM 2, 4, and 6. So there's 3. And then LRM 5, 10, 15, and 20. So you have a total of 7 prefabs associated with that 1 missile hardpoint. I hope that makes sense. If not, find me in Discord, ask questions. I will definitely be more than happy to answer. Alright, back to what we were working on. I already have the hardpoints mapped. I can go ahead and save this, it doesn't matter. So in this file, I already have the hardpoints mapped. They are essentially the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Hellbringer base, and go back here where we exported. So double click on container, wait till that top one's blank, click here. Now we are going to import dump. I'm going to import the Hellbringer set because it already has the hard points mapped. It matches my definition files. So we click OK. Would I like to save changes? Why, yes, I would. And then we're going to save changes again. Now we are to where I am saving the asset bundle again. So instead of imported, it is now manifested because it has the proper asset bundle manifest naming, and in this particular case, hardpoints associated with it. At this point, I can take this asset bundle manifest. I can drag and drop. I'm going to copy here. I'm going to delete. Now this is the asset bundle folders for my actual mods GP Hellbringer mod in the Battletech folder, and I do this for testing. I had a backup of this folder. It's actually, if I go under Battletech to my original Hellbringer, I have a release folder somewhere. Where did I say? Oh, I do have a backup of this. That's it. I was looking for a date behind it. That was actually this guy, release with the date behind it, which I backed up earlier today before I unloaded and reinstalled the game. So yes, back to there is my GP Hellbringer backup. And if all else fails, you do completely screw it up. If it is a mech that has already been released and you're reworking, just reload RogueTech. Okay, all right, back into Hellbringer 2.0 and the asset bundles. So I'm going to delete. I'm going to rename the asset bundle. I'm going to launch the game. We're going to see, one, if it works on the battlefield, two, how it looks when it gets there. Now we haven't changed any of the models yet. So what I am doing now is essentially testing to make sure that this asset bundle that I just made functions. I am also assuming that you have made def files for your mech. You'll need a mech def, you'll need a chassis def, you'll need a movement def, you'll need a hardpoint data def. If you want to do the custom portrait for the mech lab, then you'll have to have a portraits folder as well. I'll show you everything that you'll need to put together for the mod if you're not already aware of that. Alright. We'll wait for this to load. Sorry if that was loud. It's gonna get edited out anyway. Okay, now I want to go into skirmish mode. First thing I want to do is go into the mech bay. If the mech bay actually loads and our Hellbringer shows up in the list of mechs, our def files are good, they work. Well, for the most part. As far as the game is concerned, our def files are good and they work. All the relationships between them are correct. heavies. There's our Hellbringer. So our Hellbringer does show up. That's good. So at this point, I will go into single player.
Welcome, Commander.
Switch to limited. Probably should turn this down. Now that I'm listening to it in my ears. Turn down the desktop audio so you hear me and not the game so much. Alright. Still loud in my ears, but I can fix that. Here we go. So, unlimited, edit. And wait the 4.5 years for it to load. So once we get in here, we're going to go to our heavy class, grab a Hellbringer, and we're going to click save. We are going to attempt to launch a mission. If you are able to launch, if you get even to the point where the button that says click to launch loads, you're probably good. Your asset bundle is correct, and mine is not. And this is one of the issues that I have been running into, as well as Salama Joe. So I need to do some digging on this. This may be because I mapped it to the old asset bundle. So if you look at my Orion asset bundle here, it is from 9.4. That is pre 3.1. The asset bundle that I pulled in is that I pulled in and I skinned to is the current 3.1 asset bundle. So what I may need to do... Damn. Okay. So we're going to take a short break while I figure out what the hell.